Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. With this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 2 of the anime series Akagami no Shirayuki-hime, or Snow White with the Red Hair. And this one was just beautifully done once again. I absolutely love the exquisite animation, the backgrounds, the character designs, and the feel, the music, very much akin to Rokka no Yuusha, another series I'm covering as of the time of this recording. It's very reminiscent to me of like the Dragon Quest VIII RPG. If you've ever played that or something like it, the world is just, it pulls you in, and it's so mystical and magical, and there's a beauty to it, a calmness to it, very homey feeling, just looking at the surroundings, that these characters inhabit. And it's all down to this sort of new country cleverness which Shirayuki has escaped to from her hometown, getting away from that very aggressive and just dirty-minded prince who wanted her, basically to be his concubine and everything. And she's been taken under the wing of Zen, but I like that she's kind of still fending for herself. She has her own little living quarters. She's not part of the kingdom. It's not like he could take her into that sort of royal barrier and everything like that. She still has to do things on her own, and she's looking into trying to find a job, find a placement, something that can speak to her talents as an herbalist. And she goes to this shop in particular where she finds out, this guy's not hiring her, and he's kind of like, ogling her with the red hair because it's such a rarity. A lot of the people in this place, much as her hometown, they're looking at her like she's a tool, a device, that kind of thing. They're not really concerned all that much with what skills she might have and everything. But, to speak to the shop owner's actual good side and good-naturedness, he still gives her some, qualifying words about this whole aesthetic of being a court herbalist. There's a kid who is studying to become one, and apparently annually they are tested. They have this grand test that you can then become an apprentice within the court, the royalty and everything, if you have the prowess and you have the skills as an herbalist to match the requirements. And this definitely seems like Shirayuki would be very fitted, to that, for that. But she still is looking to, sort of go beyond any expectations, and she's seeking to find whatever it is that she can lay ahead of herself, calling back on that idea of writing her own story and finding her own journey. And we basically see that she goes to visit Zen, and she's talking about letting him know, they made an agreement where if she's going to be leaving the city or the town, whatever it is, basically she let him know, so he could be keeping a watchful eye on her. Even though she's not part of the kingdom and can't be brought into that, he still has a protective eye and care and concern for her. He is definitely one among the rarity that is not objectifying her, and actually does care and concern for her. So you see them going to this sort of seaside section where she's going to be hopping a schooner basically over to this mountain where it's said there are lots of different herbs for medical practices and all these kinds of things, that some of which are rare, and all that kind of stuff. So of course she is chomping at the bit to go over there, investigate, see what she can find. And this is when we see this sort of, malevolent character, potentially malevolent, Mihaya, coming up behind her in the woods and just smacking her on the back of the neck to knock her out. He apparently carries or drags her to this now vacant sort of posh mansion, out in the middle of the woods, where he's effectively put her in the dungeon. She comes to, and there's talk of, well, I could probably get some good money for you. It's like sex slave trade mentality where I guess he's a pirate or a gypsy at first glance, and he's, tired of living destitute, so he figures, because even at the docks, when Zen is seeing off Shirayuki as she gets on the ship, you have guys talking behind him about, oh, you see that red hair? We could get some good money for that and everything. Again, the objectification, but also the idea of selling her as goods. And this is what this, Mihaya has in mind. And we basically, see her it almost appears as though Shirayuki is a damsel in distress. And I'm thinking, okay, when is Zen going to figure this out? But what I really loved, what sold me on Shirayuki, she is an awesome character with a lot of skill, and she can strategize. She's basically spending so many of her hours, rubbing the ropes that her hands are tied up and clasped against the rock wall to cut through them and everything like that. And she is feigning being asleep when Mihaya comes in with some food. She kicks over a barrel to, basically flash and bang him to get the hell out of that particular cell. She closes the cell on him and she takes off running. And not only that, I mean, he is chasing her all through this mansion. He knows it veritably well because it is his homestead formerly, or as of current even though it's vacant. But he's upstairs and she's wondering why might he not want her to go up there? Maybe there's a way out, that kind of thing. She ends up, sort of running into a dead end. And this is where we see her herbalist skills really coming to the fore in the fact that she has these herbs she pulls out when, exposed to flame. They will create a debilitating gas. And she decides to use this with a lantern she's carrying against Mihaya, and it actually does seem to work. He is, falling on his knees and he's losing capability of function and everything. But of course, as we find, she finally makes it up to the second floor and she jumps out a window onto a tree branch. She falls pretty damn hard, face first onto the ground, and there he is again. So even these herbs are not going to knock him out fully. And that's probably because I think these might have been the herbs she picked up in the area. Maybe it's a scenario akin to Zen, who's been practicing on himself and exposing himself to various poisons to grow an immunity. Maybe this kid is doing the same kind of thing, or just it's a, happenstance of the fact that he's lived there so long. Maybe these herbs don't have as strong an effect as, Shirayuki might have hoped. But in any case, just when it looks like she's recaptured, you have Zen, who got the information. It's a day later now, and he went looking for her at her homestead, this little apartment she's got. And the woman there, who knows her very well, says she hasn't been back all night. So Zen gets there just in the nick of time. How he could figure out and pinpoint what happened, I don't know. You kind of have to, throw disbelief to the wind and everything like that. But in any case, I did think it was really awesome because I like the dynamic of Zen being sort of the Prince Charming, the heroic prince who saves the damsel. But the thing is, as I say, this is throwing it on its ear a little bit because Shirayuki is not a damsel at all. Maybe she couldn't have stood up in a fight against Mihaya, but she was really, about to get out of there. She probably could have made it down the mountainside, even though Mihaya says, you would have not known what to do with yourself. I believe she would have. I believe she would have probably made it back to wherever she was dropped off and could have found help had Zen not cropped up when he did at that pitch perfect timing. And because I like the characters, I can forgive it. The convenience of that, I can still forgive it because I really like that aesthetic, the way it's played out. And Zen being one of the only ones, as I say, who sees her as an equal and actually is inspired by her. As we call back to his training session, he's training sparring and he's very good at that. And he's in high spirits, as they note. But then, of course, the idea of, well, now get back to the desk work you left hanging when you spirited away with Shirayuki earlier, the previous day. And he decides he's going to man up and he's going to do the work that's necessary because Shirayuki is doing her own work. She's trying hard. She's putting her, all of her effort into this, finding her place in the world and trying to follow her dreams and, lay that path before her. And so I love that. They are, at least in Zen's mind, they are on equal footing. I kind of feel like Shirayuki looks up to him because he is the second prince of cleverness and everything. And as we leave off with this episode, you have Mihaya basically being arrested, and he asks her, what was it she was mentioning about where she wants to be or whatever it is. And she doesn't actually answer that. But the implication is she's kind of found where she wants to be, and she feels like she's going to grow from here, being a part of this new environment that cleverness represents. And she's going to maybe, try out for becoming a court herbalist, something that'll lay her closer to Zen. And because I feel like they will be, getting together. But it does seem, as we see the PV for the next episode, that might not all be smooth sailing. It seems like someone within the court, maybe it's the elder brother prince, maybe it's the king, whatever it is none too pleased. Maybe it's a vizier of the court, but somebody in that framework is none too pleased with Zen's attentions and affections toward her for whatever purpose, and sees her potentially as a threat, something to be taken out of the equation. So, and we also, I don't know if it was actually Mihaya again, sort of spying on her, if it was a different character altogether, but all of these different things, there are, complications thrown into the mold. It's not all going to be smooth sailing, as I say, and that compels me and intrigues me to watch more, as if I wasn't already won over by the characters themselves, and just the very hominess, as I say, and the calmness and the beauty, the majesty of this particular, framework, the animation, the characters, all of this stuff comes together, and it just hits me in the right spot. And so I can't wait to see what happens from this point on, and I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you've seen episode 2 of Akagami no Shirayuki-hime, or Snow White with the Red Hair, what you thought of it, if you're enjoying it, if not, why not, and anything goes in the comments below, as long as it's not spoilery from the origin material and such like that. So yeah, otherwise it'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.